My name's Dave Dubeau, founder of MoneyPartnerFormula.com, and this show is built for everyday real estate investors who are actively doing deals and looking to scale using other people's money. So if you're an active real estate investor and you want to get featured on this show to talk about your own real estate and capital raising experiences, then just go to daveinterviewsyou.com. Now let's get rolling with this episode, and remember to subscribe for daily interview content. Hey gang, welcome back. Today, zooming in from Vaughan, just out of beautiful Toronto, we have an entrepreneur and a real estate entrepreneur, Richard Foltys. And what I'm excited to talk to Richard about here today is how he uses his background in putting on really cool experiential events to raise capital. So Richard, welcome to the show. Great to have you.
Well, thank you so much. Glad to be here.
So Richard, give us a snapshot of what real estate investing looks like for you early 2025 when we're recording this.
Absolutely. Well, I love real estate like many of your listeners. I just love the idea of long-term wealth generation. And so, as you mentioned, I have a media company, so I keep myself busy running events across the country. And I thought, well, if I'm running events for big brands, why not run events for real estate? So I started putting together real estate events, and I've been inviting speakers and people on estate planning, taxes, lawyers. And at the same time, I started to invite people who have projects across Canada who are looking for investors. So I decided to kind of go into the kind of capital raising arena these days to help others kind of build their portfolios, and at the same time help educating the investors who are looking to get into real estate.
So your personal real estate portfolio, what kind of things are you invested in currently, and what are you looking to do more of moving ahead?
So currently in my day-to-day business, I've been investing in, typical, residential and commercial real estate. But I've been
So
taking
commercial, like what? Like
into commercial industrial. So kind of like a commercial industrial where you can rent. Basically, I had my studios in there for a long time.
Yeah.
And then eventually after COVID, everybody started working from home. So I just kind of rented it out. So it's a place where you can just do commercial industrial business.
Nice.
And it's been great. It's been great, been Ontario, but I'm looking more these days into multifamily. I took some education on myself to really educate myself. I realized, at the beginning, I thought education, like, why are people spending so much money? Tens of thousands of dollars. Is this a scam? And then I realized if you're dealing with acquisitions in the millions of dollars, don't you think you should be educated? An electrician.
I think your investors would like you to be educated and experienced.
Yeah,
that's for sure. Yeah.
exactly. So I'm kind of doing educating myself, and at the same time putting on these events for high net worth individuals to help them, choose what type of product they would be in, and at the same time helping others. So
let's talk
my
about the
passion.
events, and it sounds like you got a background in that. So tell me a little bit about your corporate event experience, and then how you've transitioned that into capital raising. I think that'll be really interesting.
Sure, great story. Started as a photographer. From photography, went into brand activations. So
What does that mean? What does brand activation mean?
It's funny because none of my friends even know what I do. So brand activation basically is, so for example, yesterday I did something for L'Oreal, and they're having events internally. So we'll bring in photo booths or 360 booth or glam bots, different activations to having a fun, entertaining event. So if it's a photo booth, for example, every time you take a picture, it'll have the L'Oreal branding or Skip the Dish or Ferrari or whatever the company
so they're putting on an event, and you bring the photo booths there, and then the event attendees can go in the photo booth, get a nice picture taken with L'Oreal all over the bottom. Is that kind of what I'm understanding that to be?
That's branding.
Obviously, I'm not a fashionista here, Richard, so you have to kind of connect the dots here for me, buddy.
Yeah, it's like going to a theme park, basically. I have little theme parks I set up at the events. People are like, what's going on? They come check it out. They have fun. They get content, and the content is branded. And so everybody's happy.
Now I get it, because my daughter is an influencer, so she's probably one of the people going to those kind of events. And then this just makes her job easier to get nice pictures took. Is that kind of the gist of it?
Exactly. These days, the population wants to post, and we create opportunities to create high quality content.
Postable moments.
Postable, shareable, Instagrammable moments is generally what I've been doing for the last 10, 15 years across Canada, US. And
well, even before Instagram existed. There you go.
Yeah.
Okay, so now let's translate that into what you're doing personally, bringing that event experience to capital raising. So walk me through maybe one of your most recent events that you've completed. What did that look like? Where was it? What was the name of it? Who were you bringing on? What was the goal? So just kind of walk me through
Sure.
A to Z how that worked.
Sure. So I started a brand called Eagle Summit Partners, which was our events capital raising company. I had it at a beautiful rooftop venue. I called it Eagle Summit
In Toronto?
Rooftop in Toronto, in
Yeah.
Vaughan.
Yeah.
And then I brought on a few speakers that I thought would be people I want to do business with. So I handpicked, guys who are doing jobs, in the West Coast, in Alberta, Vancouver. I even brought in somebody from the US and Ohio because that's hot, and also Florida. So I had four
Nice.
speakers. So the investors had an opportunity to learn about different projects that are happening.
So how long was
Um,
the event? It was a evening event, a couple hours? How did it work that way?
Yeah, so in the end, we decided to do an evening event. It was from 6:30 till 8:30, and then we
Okay.
had about an hour of social time. And quite frankly, nobody wanted to leave. So it was
Okay.
I'm like, okay,
That means it was a
something
good
is
event.
it was a good event. But remember, I come from an events background,
Yeah.
so I really want to make the events experiential.
Yeah.
And then so everybody then walked away with education. What I did was because our company's called Eagle Summit, I made each deal like Eagle One, Eagle Two, Eagle Three. Everybody had a piece of paper, and then when we're talking about Eagle One, for example, project in the West Coast, people could make their notes, and then we would do a one-on-one with them afterwards. So
With who? With the
the
person who took the notes?
investors,
Okay.
yeah. So people are taking the notes,
Yeah.
yes.
Got it.
So this way it's memorable wording, and then we can have something good to take notes with, and then you can do the one-on-one with them afterwards.
Okay. Smart. Okay. So I'm picturing this. You start at 6 o'clock. It goes to about 8:30. Then you got some social time afterwards. So how else did you make this experiential? L'Oreal's got photo booths and postable moments, all that kind of stuff. Did you do anything along those lines for this, or is it more kind of
It's a good thing, I was itching to bring some of my activations there, and I said I'm not going to do it because I thought that the event itself was going to be beautiful enough. The venue was gorgeous, so it was on a rooftop, so it was gorgeous venue. You got to invest in food. So
okay? Yeah.
so I invested in some food. It was in the evening. I had some sandwiches. I made it creative. I made it look very pretty. So that was kind of the experiential there. And then just good content. And quite frankly, when I go to these events, I want to see deals. Yes, I want to learn about underwriting and I want to learn how to save taxes, but I really want to see deals as an investor. So I thought to myself, why not show live deals so the investors can have that education component, but they can also have an opportunity to see what's happening so they can kind of get their foot in the door.
Yeah, no, that's smart. So next question I got is how far out did you start putting together the event and marketing the event, finding the speakers, that sort of thing? How did that kind of look logistically, Richard?
So that's a great question. It takes about 6 weeks or so minimum.
I would think.
To yeah, it takes. I did this one quick turnarounds because I've been thinking about this for a while. So I reached out to a few. You got to remember, guys, there are people that are going to fall off the radar. So even though the people commit themselves, you have to have that buffer that one or two will fall out due
And
to
you're talking about your
conflicts with.
speakers.
I'm talking speakers, never mind,
Yeah.
attendees. That's
Yeah.
a whole other conversation. But just remember that you have to have a backup for speakers because there's always something that comes up. People in real estate are busy. One guy had a crisis he had to deal with, so obviously superseded. So that's my one tip is to have that backup. If you think you're going to have X, you kind of say, okay, well, X doesn't show up. What's that going to look like? And then marketing, yeah, that's definitely the most difficult part in events.
Mhm.
And I was really trying to target accredited investors. A lot of the times you get people who are just kind of kicking the tire around.
Yeah.
So I did do that, and I try to have a lot of forms and try to get them to really pre-qualify them the best I can. And so
So how
that's it.
did you
Yeah,
get the word out about that? Was this going out to your existing network or Were you advertising on Facebook or LinkedIn or other
All
sources
of the
like that?
above.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
All of the above. So I did your social media, I did my, your Eventbrite and
Hmm.
meetup groups. So yeah, all of the above to try to get it. And it was actually pretty good. I had I think 55 or 50 was maximum. And I
Hmm.
think I had about 35, which is not bad because usually it's about 50% that
Yeah,
show up.
yeah. Okay, so you had about 70% actually show up uh, of the people that said they were going to come. That's good. And if most of them were accredited investors, that's not bad. Now, for putting something like that on, was this a free event for the attendees, or were you charging something for them to come to it?
So this particular event was free because Eagle Summit is just kind of like opening up its wings. So I want to do
Eagle
value add
Summit's
right
just
now.
spreading its eagle wings right now. I got it.
Eagle Summit is just spreading its wings and we're trying to, help out and do what we got to do. And but this was a free event because right now I believe if I give value to people, then when the time comes, they'll remember the education, they'll come back. So not
Well,
everything
plus now you
has
got a
to.
list of 35 people that came to your event, supposedly accredited investors. That's a good start.
It is a great start.
Yeah.
Absolutely. It's a great start and it feels good. And just today I had a call with somebody who's at the event and I realized everybody has a different story. This guy has his own properties, but he's got cash, but he doesn't have enough deal flow. And he
Hmm.
doesn't just want to sit on the cash. So there are investors that may be in different areas, but you never know. He is active investor, but he's like, hey, look, if you have a good deal, I'll look at it because I
Yeah.
need to keep the money moving.
Keep that circulating. So you brought on, did you say three or four speakers? I can't remember.
Well, yeah, I had six, ended
Now,
up with
how many
four.
actually showed up?
So
Four?
of the six, four showed up.
Okay, so four showed up and they all got to pitch their deals to your crowd. How does Richard get compensated for this? Because you went to a lot of time, trouble, and expense to put the event on and get accredited investors out to it. There should be some benefit to you for connecting those people with those deals. So, did you have something arranged that way, Richard?
Yeah. So, it was multi-pronged from that end. I would have
Mhm.
the conversations about either being on the GP side for the equity,
Yeah,
capital raising side. Some people want to do a commission. And I'm happy to do all that, but I was just happy to do it in general
yeah. Get
because
a
I just
proof
want to,
of
yeah, I want to keep
concept.
myself,
Yeah,
yeah, proof of concept. I want to keep myself active. I want to put out there. Yeah, it does cost money.
yeah,
The food costs money and
yeah.
everything
Well,
costs
just to give us an idea, so Vaughan, that's part of, Toronto GTA. That's a expensive market. So I imagine it costs a pretty penny to put that sucker on. I imagine you got maybe the venue was you didn't have to pay for the venue because you're getting food and drink from them, but you still had to come out for catering. So can you give us an idea of what your investment was to put on an event like that?
Yeah, yeah, it's minimum $800. I would say if you budget, let's say a
For
thousand
appies and
dollars.
stuff like that. Yeah.
Yeah, about $800 to $1,000. Well, depending on where you go. Now, I did actually forgot to mention to you, I did have an exhibitor fee.
Oh, good. Okay.
Yeah, so and it was very reasonable, like $250,
Hmm.
which is very reasonable to be able to go up and talk to the crowd and
So like the four guys that presented chipped in $250 each to help cover costs, and that was the exhibitor fee. Is that what I'm understanding?
that's right. That's
Wow.
right.
Okay, good. So
Yeah.
you
So we have that now, mind you. One of the guys I waived the fee for whatever reason
yeah,
because I'm very flexible. Really, I just wanted to just kind of get out there and you build a foundation, as you say.
and
But
covered
yeah,
most of your expenses, or at least some of
cover
them.
the expenses. But yeah, doing this long term, that's what you want to definitely think about. What's the venue cost? What's my food cost? What's my drink cost? Do I need any assistance to help me with this? What about my marketing? Is there paperwork, flyers, brochures, business cards? My website has to be updated. There's a lot of time and labor put in all of these.
Yeah.
And then you can try to obviously do that through vendors, being very fair. At the beginning, you might have to take it on the chin for proof of concept, but in long term, then you can have a strategy that will pay for itself.
Well, yeah, and I think some folks that are watching or listening to this are probably syndicators themselves or, fund managers, and they have their own projects. They probably don't want to bring in other vendors. They probably just want to do this themselves and kind of control the whole thing and just get connected with new potential investors. So again, in that case, you're definitely going to have to take it on the chin, but it can be done. $1,000 ain't a bad investment if you're going to be connected with 30 or 40 new potential prospects, investor prospects.
Well, it's funny you say that because right after the event, one of the exhibitors said, I want to do this just me next time.
Yeah.
So- and I've already had a few people reach out to me because it was very classy, let's just say. It was
It
elegant,
sounds like it. Yeah. Well,
right?
that's the advantage.
Uh,
You come in from a classy event kind of background versus schmucks like me that would, would be at the cheapest Holiday Inn you could find, and coffee and donuts or something like that. It's a different level of experience when you have the eye for it like that.
Yeah, it's true. There is a dollar and cents, and we're all about underwriting, and it's all details and saving money. But it's like, where do you want to be? Do you want to be the Toyota? Do you want to be the Lexus
Yeah.
caliber? You know, so once you kind of stick to that, you just kind of go with it, and that's what you'll be known for. Definitely. And people love it. People love to be educated. And to your point, it can't be an infomercial. There has to be some value add. And I find that in this space, everybody's interested about tax savings.
Hmm.
Everybody's interested about legal, especially with cross border. We had people
Yeah.
from the US there. And so everybody, first question is, how much tax am I paying? Am I double taxed? What are the legals? So if you give people what they want in terms of education, and then you show them a little bit of a deal flow, whether it's one person where it's going to be just for one syndicator, whatever it may be, I'm happy to help out whoever needs help. Like that's what I want to do, and just kind of create a brand as well. Because believe it or not, sometimes people have these great projects, but their branding is so weak
Yeah.
that it's not going to work. Or they have a great project and you tee it up and you bring the investor and they can't speak, right?
Yeah. That's a
And
problem. Yeah.
that's a problem. And investors are very keen. Yeah, the numbers look great, but what's your communication like? Are you
Yeah,
good in
they don't want to
communication?
invest with a adult that can't put two sentences together, kind of thing, or it's just a complete introvert. Makes a lot of sense,
Right.
Richard. Well, hey, thanks for sharing your experience. I'm sure some folks are going to want to connect with you and find out more about this whole event thing. Where should they go?
Thank you so much. Sure. If you can reach out at eaglesummitpartners.com. That's our website. Drop us a line and we'll connect. And thank you so much. It's been great being with you here today.
Thanks a lot, Richard. All right, everybody, take care, and we'll see you on the next one. Hey there, I really hope you enjoyed that episode. And as always, if you want to listen to more daily interview content, make sure you subscribe. And if you're an active real estate investor and you're doing deals and you'd like to get featured on this show, then just head over to daveinterviewyou.com. Now, at moneypartnerformula.com, we help real estate investors to create a process for predictably getting capital so they can do more deals without relying on hard money lenders or the banks. We do this by building them a private capital marketing system. Now, if you want help turning yourself into a big money capital attraction machine, then book a call with our team to see how we can help. Just visit moneypartnerformula.com to find out more. All right, take care, and we'll see you on the next interview.